everybody. This is Eden Mabon of LightCycleAstrology.com. Welcome back to the channel, friends. Today, we are taking a look at the Venus-Jupiter conjunction that is forming in the sky this week, and adherence as the ancient astrologers would have referred to this as. Now, before we get into today's content, please like, share, and subscribe on the video and the channel. It really helps the algorithm grow the channel, and I so do appreciate that. Also, this channel is supported by my consultation practice at LightCycleAstrology.com. We are seeking new clientele for 2023, so if you're interested in a consultation, please visit LightCycleAstrology.com, send me a message, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Okay, let's go ahead and pull up the real-time clock and take a look at the timing of this transit before we get into the meaning here. So we see by already today, February the 27th, Monday here, Venus is about 3 degrees before Jupiter in the sign of Aries. So that's that 3-degree range is, in ancient astrology, the range at which the transit begins, or the engagement range is activated, you might say. And then the energy builds until the perfection, which takes place by right around Thursday, March the 2nd. It's going to be really early, right by about 12:35 a.m. in the morning. So we have the buildup until then, and then by the time Saturday rolls around, March the 4th, Venus has now passed over Jupiter and is gaining enough separation, moving out of that range of engagement, 3 degrees separated from Jupiter. So overall, this is about a 6-day transit that we see this energy being the most potent. So it's not to say that the entire 6 days is going to be this very potent Venus-Jupiter energy, although I do think you'll be feeling it as a very prominent background energy. But there might be a moment within that 6-day range where this transit symbolically comes through in the form of a manifestation in some way or another that really peaks. Now, when could that happen? I think I'm going out on a limb here. I'm going to predict that for most of us, this energy will actually happen very early in the range of those 6 days, maybe today or Tuesday, tomorrow, because we see that this is the time where the moon here in Gemini, look at that, the moon is very close to Mars, and the sun and the moon are now forming a 90-degree aspect to one another, which means that we're walking into the first quarter lunation phase. Very, very interesting. So if you think about the lunation cycle, that new moon is going to represent the inceptualization of some kind of idea, the sprouting of a plan or a plan of action, if you will. Now, it really sort of percolates mentally, I think, until then. But it's the first quarter lunation time where the moon represents us taking that action plan and putting it into action. Having the moon sweep by Mars, a planet that is associated with doing things, getting things going into action, is really interesting. Also, though, Mars is the domicile ruler of the Venus-Jupiter conjunction because it's happening in one of Mars's temples here. So very interesting. I think that this all points to a very potent first quarter lunation phase, and it has something that is tying into it that represents something good, because we're talking about Venus and Jupiter, who in ancient astrology were the benefic planets. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the meaning behind this. When we talk about Venus and Jupiter, we always have to remember that the ancient Hellenistic astrologers living between the 2nd century BC and the 6th century CE, who were the inventors of horoscopic astrology that we use today, classified Venus and Jupiter as the 2 benefics. Venus being the lesser benefic and Jupiter being the greater benefic. They were really trying to bring these 7 visible lights that they saw in the sky into some kind of balance. They created this, or invented this system where things were very balanced. In other words, you had, out of the 7 wandering stars that they noticed, that they associated with the emanation or the material manifestation of the gods. Out of these 7 representative bodies of the gods, Two of them, the sun and the moon, were considered like the divine lights that represented this connection to a higher form of divinity or a higher form of fortune. Two of them, Venus and Jupiter, were connected to things that we brought us good fortune or that we liked, things that we would all want. And then the opposite of those was the two malefics, Mars and Saturn, which tended to bring us things that were difficult, things that we wouldn't want, or bad fortune. So you see the balance working out there. And then there was one guy left over, Mercury, who was kind of the intermediary between these two dualities, if you will. So that's the way in which the ancient astrologers sought to balance the system of lights that were moving in the sky above them in a meaningful way, right? But when you have a conjunction, conjunctions were called adherences. This was a special time when two wandering stars blended their fates together and was thought of to be like a divine marriage of meaning. Having both benefics blend their significations together was a profound omen of good fortune. We also have to look at which temple or sign that this marriage is taking place in. In this instance, it's Aries. Now, given the fact that this marriage is taking place in Mars's Aries temple, this really deepens the interpretation. Mars being a malefic connected to war. So how about that? The benefics in a malefic sign. But this is also Mars's springtime tropical fire daytime temple, a place where life begins anew each year. So this is a temple where we fundamentally fight to secure the right to bring forth something new life, new structures within our lives. It's very, very interesting. So I have a few themes that I'd like to share with you guys, given the fact that Venus and Jupiter, the benefics, are coming together in Mars's daytime, springtime temple. This is a very, very interesting combination because one of the first things I have here is erotic domination. Venus obviously connected with the goddess, but specifically the sexuality of the goddess, the sexual diva, the voluptuousness of the goddess. Even I think that word voluptuousness is connected with the word Venus. It sounds like it is anyway. But you have this being contacted with Jupiter, a planet that not everybody knows is also connected to things like sperm, things like erotic sexual bedroom behavior, fertility, getting things pregnant, or fecundity. So very interesting. You have both of these planets having this connection with eroticism and fertility, but it is coming through the sign of Aries, and Aries is very domineering. It wants to overpower. I always think, when I think of Aries, I always think of how rams fight each other in the springtime. One ram secures his right to mate and pass on his lineage, right? The other ram, whatever happens to the ram that loses that engagement? Well, if you think about it, that ram doesn't pass on his lineage, and it's as if his line dies there. I always used to wonder about this. Why does Mars rule the springtime energy if Mars is connected to death? Well, sometimes death happens when new life comes through, or sometimes battle is required to secure, protect, or bring into existence new life. I think you really get a sense of that when you capture that image of the rams butting their heads together, because somebody is procreating and somebody is losing that. There is a death connection to the springtime. So you could see different ways in which you turn this erotic domination. Could it be that if you're in a relationship, that eroticism is dominating the relationship? Could it be that a relationship ends or takes a break in order for people to seek erotic pleasures outside of the relationship? You could see both. Could it simply be a time where people get pregnant and have babies, and that's like the thing that is dominating the moment, right? Where it's just like, no. It's like one of those times where it's like, we're really going to make this our mission. We really want to start a family. something like that. So you could see any number of ways. I guess the three main ways is you could see something like a relationship where people are sort of making it the mission to revitalize the relationship, or maybe it's in some cases, the relationship doesn't work, and this is a time for the thing to separate out and die, so that new desires can be pursued. Or is it, something is being born, and it's doing it by the tip of the sword. The sword is dominating the eroticism somehow. So you just kind of have to play with that concept and see how that might manifest in whatever is happening in your life. But take that concept and play with it a little bit. And I think you might see this energy come through in that way here. Okay. Sexy fertility. This is pretty much the same thing, but I'm just using different words for it. Again, Jupiter has that connection with sperm, and Venus is very sexy. So you definitely have like just a very sexual, fertile time. Now, this doesn't have to do with actual sexy things or sex. It could just have to do with things that you want or desire that is very fertile right now. Quick opportunities for attraction. Is this a time where out of the blue, it's like you just find yourself very attracted to something new and exciting, maybe even dangerous or risky? But it's like all of a sudden, it's like you have to make a quick decision. Am I going to go after this thing that I'm attracted to? I could see that happening too. Aries and Mars both connected to things that just happen very quickly. Fighting for the belief in love. I like this one. It reminds me of rom-com movies. My dad says, have you ever noticed in rom-com movies, there's always somebody, usually the man, that has to chase after the woman or the partner, right? It's usually somebody is sitting there and his friend is saying, come on, man, you gotta ante up. You gotta go tell her how you feel. She's getting away. She's getting on a plane, right? That sort of trope, that movie trope. This is kind of like that. This is fighting because you believe in love, getting back the thing that you love, or it could be fighting for the belief in love. Like you're going to say to yourself, I'm no longer going to be jaded. I do believe in love, and I'm going to fight for that, or I'm going to fight for a relationship, or I'm going to fight for a better world, because love should be the dominating principle that I live my life by. Something like that. New love, new luck, new life. Just that Aries kind of energy. Venus and Jupiter coming together, representing something broader than just sex or beauty or friendship. Something broader in this could just be just general good fortune, where these two planets that represented something good in the ancient world, they represented good fortune, just generally speaking or broadly speaking. So could there be just something new that is coming along or sprouting right now that it's just good? It doesn't have anything to do with anything specific, but something is good about it. Spring of good fortune. This is really related to that, but I just played with the word of spring, like something all of a sudden just like boom, it's just there. It's a green shoot that just sprouts up, and it's like, wow, here it is. How lucky is this? Independent indulgence is another one that I came up with because, Mars is a planet that sometimes likes to do things by itself. It's like, no, I don't want to ask for help. I don't need any help. I'm fine doing this on my own. And I'm going to do something indulgent. I'm just going to do something. I'm going to take something a little too far. I'm going to take a pleasure too far, or an entertainment. I'm going to eat too much by myself at a restaurant. I'm going to go on a hike. And before I know it, I'm like 10 miles further than I thought I would be. One thing I didn't put on here that I just realized as I was thinking about this, though, is you have Venus in the mix here, and Venus also represents friendships at times. So this could even be where a group of friends or two people in a relationship go and do something independently, and it's overindulgent. But this is just a time to have fun, go to a party, do something beautiful and pleasurable. Just, even if it's about work, it has to be kind of really creative here and inspired. But generally, I'm thinking that this is a time where it's like, okay, we've had a lot of Saturnine Aquarius kind of energy. This is a time where it's like, no, no, no. We need to get back to like having some fun here. And it just could be indulgent, or in the more shadowy side, maybe it goes too far a bit. But so you do want to be careful about, anytime you get Venus and Jupiter together, you could overdrink, you could overeat, you could just do something a little bit too much while you're trying to have fun. Okay, beauty competitions and pageants. Here we bring in this theme of Venus representing beauty and Mars representing competition, or something that wants to be victorious over something else. Jupiter, also a planet that likes to compete, likes sportsmanship, wants to do something adventurous. So I get the sense of like, I'm sure most of us aren't going to be having anything connected to beauty competitions or beauty pageants. But I wanted to put this on the list because it gives you a sense of like, is beauty in competition somehow? Or are Venusian things in competition somehow? Because we get Jupiter. Jupiter is a planet that is connected to beliefs. So it's like, I believe that I deserve this, or I want that, or I desire this. And, I might have to compete for that in some way or another. So you sort of get the accolades of the pageantry coming through here, I think, where it's like, I don't mind being on stage competing and, preening or whatever in order to secure the thing that I want, or get the recognition or accolades that I think I need, or something around that theme, I think. Okay. Desiring morality to carry the day even by means of war. Now we get into a little bit darker form of this energy, where that Jupiter connection having to do with things that are like about justice or morality or law or order, cohesion or religion or belief. Just the thing that says, I have the moral high ground. I have the correct dogma. We get a little bit of that sense of things becoming fanatical. There's kind of a moral fanaticism that could come in here. And it's like, that is above all else, right? Even if it causes a conflict or a battle to begin. And, we could definitely see that just in the mundane world sense, where is this a time where there is just a very strong desire on the part of a world leader or a nation or anything in the world that has this tone of like moral righteousness that becomes dogmatic or fanatical, I guess you could say. Desiring for diplomacy, dictatorship, or judgment. This is a little bit connected to that, but we also have to remember that Venus is a planet that does seek harmony, does seek judgment in terms of like trying to weigh things out. It tries to seek some kind of grace or harmony. So there's this interesting mix in which we could see, this is more on like a mundane sense, where we could see kind of this odd mixture of a dictatorship meets like some kind of fairness or diplomacy, and how there's like a desire to bring those things together. Kind of an odd mix, but I think you could really see that. Another one we could definitely see for this is something like a separation for a clean start. And that's because in the ancient world, I believe it was ancient Egypt, one of the first symbols that we have for the planet Mars is actually a knife. So you get this connection with Mars and things that are cut away or separated, things that are like surgically removed. And you also get Venus associated with immaculateness or cleanliness. Venus, because Venus is connected to beauty, one thing that makes things beautiful is when they're clean. So you do get a sense that there may be a way in which there might be something in our life that needs to be cut away, surgically removed for the benefit of it being clean. And of course, we get Aries, which is a sign in the vernal equinox time of year that tends to begin new things. So you get a clean start here. So that is another one that I could definitely see coming in through this conjunction here. Having a grand party. So yeah, we've kind of already touched upon this, but you get the grandness of Jupiter here and the social ability of Venus. So, that one's pretty basic, pretty simple, but could this be a time where you just have an over the top kind of party that comes in right now? I think so. Okay, and lastly, we have the beginnings of friendship or love affairs that are advantageous. Yeah, that's because Jupiter was often associated with benefactors in one way or another, people that could help you or did provide help for you in a way that supported your life or ambitions or goals. Sometimes it was connected to things like inheritances. So could there be something that Venus represents coming together with Jupiter, and Jupiter represents things that are advantageous for you in the long run? Having a conjunction is a reset between these two planets of their synodic cycle. So could it be that Venus and Jupiter come together to begin a new Venus-Jupiter cycle that is somehow advantageous around relationships or friendships or people in your life that want to help? So those are some of the things that I could definitely see happening for this Jupiter-Venus conjunction. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. I hope you got something useful out of this. Please like, share, and subscribe on the video, and I'll be back again with another astrology video coming up on Wednesday and then again on Friday. Take care, everybody, and until then, have a good one. Bye.